The manila envelope containing her third eviction notice in as many months sat on Samuel Quinn's dashboard like a ticking bomb as he pulled up to the address that promised to be his salvation, at least for December's rent. The house before him was not a house at all, but rather an estate that seemed to stretch endlessly in both directions, its pristine white facade glowing against the gray December sky. Samuel killed the engine of his battered pickup truck, suddenly feeling acutely aware of the rust spots eating through the wheel wells and the cracks spiderwebbing across his windshield. His 7-year-old daughter Lily stirred in the back seat, blinking awake from her after-school nap. "Are we at the castle, Daddy?" she asked, pressing her face against the window. "Something like that, sweetheart." Samuel turned around to smile at her, though his stomach churned with nerves. "Remember what I said. You need to stay in the truck and work on your homework while I talk to the lady about the job." "I know," Lily said, though her eyes remained fixed on the massive house. "Can I listen to music?" "Sure thing." Samuel handed her his phone, already cued to her favorite playlist, then checked his reflection in the rearview mirror. At 32, he looked older than his years, the stress of single parenthood and financial struggle etched in the lines around his eyes. But his flannel shirt was clean, if worn, and he had shaved that morning. It would have to do. The driveway felt a mile long as he walked toward the front entrance, his work boots crunching on gravel that probably cost more per stone than his monthly grocery budget. He had found the job listing on a community board at the hardware store, a simple request for someone to hang Christmas lights on a large property. The pay offered for the job could cover 2 months of rent if he was careful. It felt too good to be true, which meant it probably was, but desperation had a way of making even the longest shots seem worth taking. Before he could reach the doorbell, the massive front door swung open, and Samuel found himself face to face with the most striking woman he had ever seen. She stood in the doorway, wearing casual clothes that somehow looked anything but casual. Her dark hair pulled back in a ponytail that revealed elegant features and intelligent green eyes. She could not have been much older than him, perhaps 30 or 31, but she carried herself with the kind of confidence that came from never having worried about making rent. "You must be Samuel Quinn," she said, extending her hand. Her grip was firm, businesslike. "I'm Sophia Carmichael. Thank you for coming on such short notice." "Thank you for considering me, Miss Carmichael." Samuel was proud that his voice came out steady. "I appreciate the opportunity. Please call me Sophia." She stepped back, gesturing him inside. "Come in. I want to show you the scope of the project before we discuss details." The interior of the house matched the exterior's grandeur, all soaring ceilings and tasteful artwork that Samuel suspected was probably original rather than prints. But as Sophia led him through the foyer, he noticed something unexpected. Despite the obvious wealth on display, the house felt empty. Not physically empty, but emotionally so. No family photos lined the walls. No clutter of daily life softened the perfect staging. "I moved in 3 months ago," Sophia explained, as if reading his thoughts. "I am still settling in. The house belonged to my grandmother. She passed away last year and left it to me in her will." "I am sorry for your loss," Samuel said automatically. Something flickered across Sophia's face, an emotion too quick to identify. "Thank you. We were not particularly close, but she was family." She led him to a wall of windows overlooking the back of the property. "This is what I need help with." Samuel had to suppress a whistle. The grounds stretched out before them like something from a magazine spread. Manicured gardens, a pool covered for winter, and enough architectural features to keep him busy for a week at least. "My grandmother always decorated extensively for Christmas," Sophia continued. "It was apparently quite the spectacle. The neighbors have been asking me about it, and I thought it would be nice to continue the tradition." She turned to face him directly. "I will be honest with you, Samuel. I know nothing about hanging Christmas lights. I work in tech, and my skill set does not extend to anything particularly practical. I need someone who knows what they are doing and can handle the entire project from planning to execution. I can do that, Samuel said, his mind already calculating angles and measuring distances. I worked construction for 8 years before the company went under. I have all my own equipment, ladder, safety gear, the works. I have done plenty of holiday lighting work on commercial properties. The listing mentioned the pay, Sophia said. Is that acceptable to you? It was more than acceptable. It was a miracle. But something made Samuel hesitate. That is very generous. Can I ask why you are paying so much? I mean, I am not complaining, but I want to make sure we are on the same page about expectations. Sophia smiled, and for the first time, she looked less like an intimidating billionaire and more like a regular person. I appreciate your honesty. The truth is, I have no idea what the going rate is for this kind of work. I asked my assistant to research it, and that is what she told me was fair for the scope of the project. If it is too much, we can negotiate down. No, Samuel said quickly, perhaps too quickly. No, that is fair, more than fair. When would you want me to start? Is tomorrow too soon? Samuel thought of the eviction notice, of Lily's worried face when she thought he was not looking, of the medical bills still piling up from her mother's final hospital stays 3 years ago. Tomorrow is perfect. They shook hands again, and Sophia walked him back to the front door. As they crossed the foyer, Samuel heard his truck horn beep twice. His heart sank. Lily's signal. She needed to use the bathroom. Is everything all right? Sophia asked. Samuel considered lying, but something about her direct gaze made him choose honesty. My daughter is in the truck. She needs to use the bathroom. I am sorry, I will just take her to a gas station and be out of your way. Your daughter is in the truck. In this cold? Sophia's eyebrows rose. Bring her in. Of course, she can use the bathroom here. I do not want to impose. It is not an imposition. Bring her in. Samuel hurried back to the truck, where Lily was bouncing slightly in her seat. Come on, sweetheart. The nice lady says you can use her bathroom. Lily's eyes went wide as she took in the house up close. She slipped her small hand into Samuel's, suddenly shy, as they walked back to where Sophia waited in the doorway. You must be Lily, Sophia said, crouching down to the little girl's level. I am Sophia. Your dad tells me you need to use the bathroom. Lily nodded, tongue-tied by the grandeur around her. I will show you where it is. Sophia stood and led them both through the house to a bathroom that was probably bigger than Lily's entire bedroom. While Lily disappeared inside, Samuel and Sophia waited in the hallway. She is beautiful, Sophia said. She has your eyes. Thank you, she is my whole world. No wife. The question was casual, but Samuel caught something beneath it. Curiosity, maybe, not judgment, thankfully. Widow, 3 years now, cancer. I am sorry, that must be incredibly difficult. We manage. Samuel realized he was clenching his jaw and forced himself to relax. Lily is tough. She does not remember her mother as well as I wish she did, but we are doing okay. The bathroom door opened, and Lily emerged, eyes still wide. Daddy, there is a chandelier in the bathroom. A whole chandelier. Despite himself, Samuel laughed. Fancy, right? Sophia smiled. My grandmother had expensive taste. Lily, would you like to see something cool while you are here? Lily looked to Samuel for permission. He nodded, and she turned back to Sophia with a tentative smile. Okay. They followed Sophia through the house to what appeared to be a sitting room, though it was larger than most living rooms Samuel had seen. But what caught Lily's attention immediately was the enormous Christmas tree standing in the corner, at least 12 feet tall, though currently undecorated. I had it delivered yesterday, Sophia explained, but I have no idea how to decorate it. I thought maybe you could give me some advice, Lily. You seem like you would know about these things. Lily's shyness evaporated in the face of such an important mission. You need lights first, lots of lights. And then ornaments, but you have to put the special ones on the inside branches where they are safe. And tinsel, but Daddy says tinsel is messy, so maybe not tinsel. And a star on top, definitely a star. That sounds perfect, Sophia said seriously, as if consulting with an expert. Maybe when your dad is working on the outside lights, you could help me with this tree, if that is okay with your dad, of course." She directed the last part to Samuel, who found himself both surprised and touched by the offer. "That is very kind of you, but you do not have to do that. Lily can stay with our neighbor while I work." "I would like the help, actually," Sophia said. "I have never decorated a Christmas tree." "My family was not really into that sort of thing. It would be nice to learn from someone who knows what they are doing." Lily tugged on Samuel's sleeve. "Can I, Daddy, please?" Looking down at his daughter's hopeful face, then up at Sophia's genuine expression, Samuel felt something shift in his chest. It was not charity, exactly. It felt more like connection. "If you are sure it is not an imposition." "I am sure." That night, after putting Lily to bed in their tiny 2-bedroom apartment, Samuel sat at his kitchen table and tried to plan out the lighting project. But his mind kept drifting back to Sophia Carmichael. She was nothing like what he had expected when he saw the listing. He had anticipated someone older, someone imperious and demanding. Instead, he had met a woman who seemed almost lost in her own massive house, who crouched down to talk to his daughter at eye level, who admitted freely that she did not know how to decorate a Christmas tree. The next morning, Samuel and Lily arrived at the estate at 9 sharp, his truck loaded with equipment. Sophia answered the door in jeans and a sweater, looking more relaxed than she had the day before. "Good morning," she said. "I have coffee brewing if you want some before you start, Samuel." "And Lily, I have hot chocolate and some breakfast pastries if you are hungry." Over coffee and pastries at Sophia's enormous kitchen island, they worked out a schedule. Samuel would start with the main house, then move to the gardens and finally the front gate. Sophia produced boxes and boxes of lights that her grandmother had apparently stored in the garage, professional-grade equipment that would make the job easier. "I took the day off work," Sophia announced. "I run my own company, so I can make that call." "I thought Lily and I could start on the tree while you work on the outside." Samuel hesitated. "Are you sure? I do not want you to feel like you have to entertain her." "I want to," Sophia said simply. "Besides, I really do need the help. That tree is intimidating." So Samuel found himself climbing ladders and stringing lights, while the sound of Christmas music and occasional laughter drifted from inside the house. It was surreal, working on a project of this scale, but it also felt good. He had missed this, the satisfaction of physical work, of creating something beautiful with his hands. Around noon, Sophia appeared with sandwiches. "Lunch break," she announced. "Lily helped me make these. Well, she helped me assemble them. I am not much of a cook." They ate together on the back patio, despite the December chill. Lily chattered about the tree, about the ornaments they had unwrapped, about how Sophia did not know that you had to check all the light strands before putting them on the tree. "She is a very patient teacher," Sophia said, her eyes twinkling. "I am learning a lot." "I am glad," Samuel said, and meant it. As the day wore on, Samuel found himself increasingly aware of Sophia's presence. She would come out periodically to check on his progress, always with some excuse. Did he need water? More lights? A different extension cord? But Samuel got the sense that she was just enjoying having people around. The house, for all its grandeur, seemed designed for a family, not a single woman living alone. By the time the sun began to set, Samuel had completed the main house. The lights traced every architectural feature, elegant and classic rather than gaudy. He stood back to admire his work, satisfied. "It is beautiful," Sophia said from behind him. He had not heard her approach. "Your wife must have been very proud of your work." "She was," Samuel said quietly. "Emma always loved Christmas. That was her favorite thing about this time of year, getting me to put up lights. We would go all out on our little house, compete with the neighbors for who could make the best display." "She sounds wonderful." She was. Samuel glanced at Sophia. "What about you?" "No family around for the holidays." Sophia's expression shuddered slightly. "My family is complicated. My father and I do not speak. My mother passed when I was young. I have a brother, but we are not close. I built my company from the ground up. which apparently was not the right move in my father's eyes. He wanted me to go into the family business, traditional finance. When I chose tech instead, he cut me off. Everything I have, I earned myself. That makes you a self-made billionaire, then. Sophia laughed. I suppose it does, though I inherited this house, so not completely self-made. My grandmother apparently approved of my choices, even if no one else in the family did. Their loss, Samuel said firmly, something in Sophia's expression softened. Thank you. That is kind of you to say. They stood together in comfortable silence, watching as the lights began to glow brighter against the darkening sky. From inside, they could hear Lily singing along to a Christmas song. Over the next week, a routine developed. Samuel would arrive each morning, and while he worked on different sections of the property, Lily and Sophia would tackle various decorating projects inside. Samuel found himself looking forward to lunch breaks, when the three of them would sit together and talk. Sophia asked questions about his life, about Lily, and she actually listened to the answers. In return, she shared stories about her company, about the challenges of being a woman in tech, about her grandmother who had apparently been something of a rebel in her own time. She married for love instead of social standing, Sophia explained one afternoon. It was a huge scandal, but she and my grandfather were happy together for 50 years. She used to tell me that was worth more than all the approval in the world. Smart woman, Samuel said. I think so. I wish I had known her better. I was so focused on building my company, I did not make enough time for family. Not that most of my family wanted my time anyway. Samuel watched her face as she spoke, noticing the loneliness beneath her words. Sophia Carmichael might have been a billionaire, but in many ways, she seemed just as adrift as he had felt after Emma's death. On Friday afternoon, Samuel finished the last of the lights. The entire property glowed like something from a fairy tale, elegant and warm despite the winter cold. Sophia stood beside him as he flicked the switch on the main control panel, bringing everything to life at once. Oh, she breathed. Samuel, this is incredible. Lily bounced excitedly. It is like magic, Daddy. Samuel felt a surge of pride. I am glad you like it. I love it. Sophia turned to him, her face glowing in the light from 1,000 tiny bulbs. You have a real gift. This is exactly what my grandmother would have wanted. They stood there as evening fell, admiring the display. Neighbors started to stop by, drawn by the spectacular lights. Sophia welcomed them graciously, and Samuel noticed how she made a point to credit him for all the work. She never acted superior or dismissive, treating everyone with the same genuine warmth. When the last neighbor had left, Sophia turned to Samuel and Lily. I know this was not part of our deal, but I was wondering if you would both like to stay for dinner. I ordered Italian from a place in town, too much for just me. Samuel should have said no. The job was done. There was no reason to linger. But Lily was looking up at him with hopeful eyes, and he found himself nodding. That sounds great. Thank you. Dinner was relaxed and easy, the three of them sitting in Sophia's formal dining room that she had set with casual place settings rather than the fancy china that probably belonged there. Lily told Sophia about her school, about her best friend Marcus, who always shared his cookies at lunch, about how she wanted to be a veterinarian when she grew up because she loved animals. That is a wonderful goal, Sophia said. You know, my company has been working on some technology that could help veterinarians do their jobs better. Maybe when you are older, you could come visit and see what we do. Lily's eyes shone. Really? Really? Samuel watched the exchange with a growing sense of something he had not felt in 3 years. Not attraction, exactly, though Sophia was undeniably beautiful. It was more than that. It was the feeling of pieces falling into place, of something broken beginning to heal. After dinner, as Samuel was getting ready to leave, Sophia walked them to the door. I have a proposition for you, she said, and I want you to think about it before answering. Samuel waited. The lights are going to need maintenance throughout the season. Bulbs will burn out, connections might come loose. And honestly, I have loved having company this week. The house feels less empty with people in it. What if I hired you to maintain the lights through January? You could come by a few times a week, check on everything, and Lily could visit after school. I know you are looking for work, and this would be steady income through the holidays. It was a generous offer, maybe too generous. Samuel's pride bristled. Sophia, you do not have to do this. The lights will be fine. They are commercial grade. They will hold up. I know I do not have to. I want to. Sophia met his eyes directly. Please do not think this is charity, Samuel. I genuinely enjoy your company, both of you. And yes, I can afford to pay you, but that does not make the offer less sincere. I would like you to consider it. Samuel looked down at Lily, who was barely staying awake, leaning against his leg. Then back at Sophia, at the hopeful expression on her face that she was trying to hide. Can I think about it over the weekend? Of course. That night, Samuel lay awake thinking about Sophia's offer. He needed the money, that was undeniable. But something about accepting felt significant in a way that had nothing to do with finances. It would mean continuing to see her, to spend time with her, to let Lily grow attached to someone who existed in a completely different world than theirs. But then he thought about how happy Lily had been all week, coming home each day bubbling with stories about Sophia and what they had done together. He thought about how natural it had felt, the three of them having dinner together. He thought about Sophia's face when she talked about her grandmother, about how alone she seemed despite all her success. On Sunday evening, he called the number she had given him. Samuel, she answered, and he could hear the smile in her voice. Have you thought about my offer? I have. And I would like to accept with one condition. What is that? That you let me take you to dinner. A proper thank you for everything you have done for Lily this week. Nothing fancy, just a place I know downtown. No pressure, just dinner between friends. There was a pause on the other end of the line, long enough that Samuel wondered if he had overstepped. Then Sophia said, I would like that very much. When? Tuesday night. Lily stays with our neighbor on Tuesdays anyway. She and the neighbor's daughter have a standing playdate. Tuesday is perfect. Samuel spent Monday in a state of nervous anticipation that he barely recognized. He had not been on a date since Emma's death. But this was not a date, he reminded himself. It was a thank you dinner between friends, nothing more. Except, when Tuesday evening arrived and he picked Sophia up from her estate, seeing her in a simple but elegant dress that probably cost more than his truck. His heart kicked in his chest in a way that had nothing to do with friendship. The restaurant he had chosen was nothing fancy, a local Italian place that had been around for 30 years, the kind of place with red checkered tablecloths and candles in wine bottles. Sophia looked around with genuine delight. This is wonderful, she said. I am so tired of stuffy restaurant where everyone is trying to impress everyone else. Over plates of pasta and glasses of wine, they talked more freely than they had all week. Sophia told him about starting her company in her garage, about the first investor who believed in her vision, about the rush of going public and seeing years of work pay off. But it is lonely at the top, she admitted. Everyone wants something from you, your time, your money, your endorsement. It is hard to know who actually likes you versus who likes what you represent. Is that why you never married? Samuel asked, then immediately worried he had gone too far. Sorry, you do not have to answer that. No, it is fine. Sophia twirled her wine glass. I came close once. I was engaged about 5 years ago, but he could not handle me being more successful than him. He kept trying to convince me to step back, let other people run the company so I could focus on our future family. As if I could not do both. When I refused, he gave me an ultimatum, the company or him. You chose the company. I chose myself, Sophia corrected. I chose not to compromise who I am for someone who could not see my success as something to celebrate instead of something to compete with. I have not regretted that decision, but I have been lonely, until this week. The vulnerability in her voice made Samuel's chest tighten. I know about lonely. After Emma died, everyone said it would get easier, and in some ways it did. But there is this space where she used to be, and I have not known how to fill it. I focus on Lily, on being the best father I can be, and most days that is enough. But some nights, after she goes to bed, I sit in my living room and wonder if this is all there is for the rest of my life. Sophia reached across the table and took his hand. Her touch was warm, certain. Maybe it does not have to be. The rest of the dinner passed in a blur of conversation and connection. They discovered they both loved old movies, that they both preferred winter to summer, that they both had a terrible habit of reading the end of books first. Small things, but they added up to something that felt significant. When Samuel dropped Sophia off at her estate, neither of them moved to get out of the truck immediately. "I had a wonderful time tonight," Sophia said. "Thank you for asking me. Thank you for saying yes." Samuel hesitated, then decided to risk it. "Sophia, I want to be honest with you. I like you, more than as just a friend or an employer, and I do not know if that is crazy, considering how different our lives are, but I needed to say it." Sophia's smile was like sunrise. "It is not crazy. I like you too, Samuel, a lot, but I do not want to rush into anything. Lily has to come first. I would never want to hurt her or confuse her." "I appreciate that." Samuel felt relief flood through him. She was not running away, she understood. "So what do? We take it slow. We spend time together. We see where this goes naturally." Sophia squeezed his hand. "Is that okay with you?" "That is perfect." Over the next few weeks, their relationship deepened in small, steady increments. Samuel came by 3 times a week to check the lights, though they rarely needed more than minor adjustments. He would arrive, do his inspection, and then he and Sophia would have coffee together while Lily played in the enormous playroom that Sophia had started stocking with toys and books. They went on more dinners, sometimes just the two of them, sometimes as a trio with Lily. Sophia came to Lily's school Christmas concert, sitting beside Samuel in the crowded auditorium and clapping enthusiastically when Lily sang her solo. She fit into their lives so naturally that Samuel sometimes forgot she was a billionaire. To him, she was just Sophia, the woman who made terrible jokes that made Lily giggle, who was learning to bake cookies despite burning the first 3 batches, who looked at him like he was something precious. The first time Samuel kissed her, it was 2 days before Christmas. They were standing in her living room, admiring the tree that Lily and Sophia had decorated together. Lily had fallen asleep on the couch, exhausted from a day of sledding in Sophia's extensive backyard. "She looks so peaceful," Sophia whispered, looking down at the sleeping child with such tenderness that Samuel's heart swelled. "She loves you," Samuel said quietly. "She talks about you constantly." "I love her too." Sophia turned to face him. "I love you too, Samuel. I know we said we would take things slow, but I need you to know how I feel. You have changed my life. Both of you have." "I love you too," Samuel said, and then he was kissing her, soft and sweet, 3 years of loneliness melting away in the warmth of her response. On Christmas morning, Samuel woke up in his own bed, but for the first time in years, he did not feel the hollow ache that usually accompanied the holiday. He and Lily had been invited to spend the day at Sophia's estate, and as they drove through the early morning streets, Lily practically vibrating with excitement beside him, Samuel felt a sense of rightness he had not experienced since Emma's death. Sophia answered the door in pajamas and a robe, her hair messy, looking more beautiful than Samuel had ever seen her. "Merry Christmas," she said, pulling them both into a hug. The day was magical. They opened presents together, Sophia giving Lily thoughtful gifts that she had clearly selected with care. A veterinary play set, books about animals, a donation in Lily's name to a local animal shelter. For Samuel, she had framed a photo from the night they lit up the estate for the first time, the 3 of them standing together, smiling. "I had to steal it from your phone," she admitted. "I hope you do not mind." "I do not mind at all." Samuel pulled out his own gift for her, suddenly nervous. It was not expensive, nothing like what she could buy herself. but he had spent hours on it, building a small wooden jewelry box with intricate carvings of snowflakes and stars. "I made this for you." Sophia opened the box with trembling hands. "Samuel, this is beautiful. You made this." "I used to do woodworking before. Well, before life got complicated. I still have some of my tools." "It is the most thoughtful gift anyone has ever given me." Sophia kissed him, not caring that Lily was right there watching with wide eyes. "Does this mean Sophia is your girlfriend now, Daddy?" Lily asked. Samuel looked at Sophia, who nodded with a smile. "Yes, sweetheart, if that is okay with you." Lily pretended to think about it very seriously, then grinned. "It is definitely okay. Can I have more hot chocolate now?" As winter turned to spring, their relationship continued to deepen. Samuel found steady work through contacts Sophia made, though she was careful never to make him feel like charity. She connected him with people who genuinely needed his skills, and his reputation began to rebuild. He was able to move Lily into a better school district, to pay off some of the medical debt that had been crushing him for years. But more important than the financial stability was the emotional healing. Sophia became a part of their family, and they became part of hers. She came to Lily's soccer games, taught Samuel about her work in ways that made him feel included in that part of her life, created space for them in her world without trying to change who they were. There were challenges, of course. Sometimes the differences in their backgrounds created friction. Sophia would suggest trips or experiences that Samuel could not afford to contribute to equally, and his pride would bristle. They would argue, work through it, and find compromises. She learned to be more mindful of the financial disparity. He learned to accept that she wanted to share her resources with people she loved. The biggest challenge came 6 months into their relationship, when Sophia's father showed up unannounced at the estate. Samuel was there with Lily, helping Sophia plant a garden in the backyard when a sleek black car pulled up. The man who emerged was tall and imposing, with silver hair and an expensive suit. His face bore a strong resemblance to Sophia's, but where her features were warm, his were cold. "Sophia," he said, his tone disapproving, "we need to talk." "Father." Sophia stood, placing herself slightly in front of Samuel and Lily. "What are you doing here?" "I heard about your new relationship. I wanted to see for myself." His gaze swept over Samuel dismissively. "A construction worker, Sophia? Really? Is this some kind of rebellion?" Samuel felt his jaw clench, but before he could respond, Sophia spoke, her voice like ice. "Samuel is not a construction worker, though there would be nothing wrong with it if he were. He is a skilled craftsman and a wonderful father. More importantly, he is kind and honest and makes me happier than I have been in years. You do not get to come here after cutting me out of your life and judge my choices." Her father's expression hardened. "I am trying to protect you. Men like him are only interested in your money." "Men like me have names," Samuel said, his voice calm but firm. "And I loved your daughter long before I knew the extent of her wealth. But you would not understand that, because you have never loved anything more than status and control." "Samuel, take Lily inside," Sophia said quietly. "No," Samuel stepped up beside her, taking her hand. "We are in this together, remember?" Sophia's father looked between them, something shifting in his expression. "You are serious about this?" "Yes," Sophia said. "I am serious about him. I am serious about his daughter. They are my family now, whether you approve or not." For a long moment, no one spoke. Then her father sighed, suddenly looking older. "Your grandmother would have liked him. She always said I was too concerned with appearances." She was right. "I can see that I have lost you, Sophia. I do not know if I can fix that, but perhaps I can stop making it worse." He turned to Samuel. "Take care of my daughter. She is more precious than I ever showed her." Then he got back in his car and drove away, leaving stunned silence in his wake. That night, after Lily had gone to sleep in one of Sophia's guest rooms, which had become her room in all but name, Samuel and Sophia sat together on her back patio. "Are you okay?" Samuel asked. "I think so. It is strange. I have been angry at him for so long. I did not expect to feel sad when he left." Maybe that means healing is possible. Not today, maybe not soon, but someday. Sophia leaned her head on his shoulder. How did I get so lucky to find you? I ask myself the same thing every day. As summer arrived, Samuel made a decision. He spent weeks planning, working with a jeweler to create something perfect. When he proposed, it was not grand or showy. He waited until they were alone in Sophia's garden, the same place where her father had confronted them months before. I want to turn this spot into something beautiful, he said, getting down on one knee. I want to fill it with happy memories instead of painful ones. Sophia Carmichael, will you marry me? Sophia said yes through tears, and when they told Lily, she jumped up and down so hard she knocked over a vase. Neither of them cared. They married that fall in the garden. Samuel had transformed, surrounded by friends and the few family members who mattered. Sophia's father was not there, though he sent a gift with a note that simply said, "I am trying." Lily was the flower girl, taking her job so seriously that she counted each step down the aisle. When the officiant asked if anyone objected to the union, she shouted, "No way." They are perfect together, making everyone laugh. Samuel moved into the estate, though it took time to feel like home. He converted one of the many rooms into a workshop, filling it with woodworking tools and projects. Sophia would come down sometimes to watch him work, and he would teach her the basics of carpentry, patient with her mistakes. Lily thrived, growing confident and happy in a home filled with love and stability. She never forgot Emma, who Samuel and Sophia made sure to keep alive in stories and photos. But she also opened her heart to Sophia, who loved her fiercely and completely. A year after the wedding, Sophia came home from a doctor's appointment with news. She was pregnant. Samuel swept her up in his arms, spinning her around until she laughed and begged him to stop. Lily was excited about being a big sister, though she had many questions about babies, and where they came from that led to some awkward conversations. But she took her responsibility seriously, helping to set up the nursery and picking out books to read to her future sibling. Their son was born on a snowy December evening, almost exactly 2 years after the day Samuel had first arrived at the estate to hang Christmas lights. They named him James, after Samuel's father, and he had Sophia's green eyes and Samuel's dark hair. Holding his son while Lily leaned against Sophia's hospital bed and chattered about all the things she would teach her baby brother, Samuel felt overwhelmed with gratitude. He thought about the man he had been 2 years ago, desperate and struggling, seeing that job listing as his last hope. He never could have imagined it would lead to this. "What are you thinking about?" Sophia asked, reaching for his hand. About how sometimes the biggest blessings come disguised as just another job, about how lucky I am, about how much I love you. "I love you too," Sophia said. "You and Lily saved me just as much as I helped you, maybe more. You taught me what family really means." As they sat together in that hospital room, their family complete, snow falling softly outside the window, Samuel knew that all the struggle had been worth it. Every rejection, every hardship, every moment of doubt had led him here, to this woman, to this life, to this love. The estate that had once seemed so intimidating now felt like home. Samuel had filled it with his woodwork, with photos of their family, with the clutter and noise and joy of daily life. Sophia had learned to bake, sort of, and took genuine pleasure in attending Lily's school events and planning family game nights. They established traditions. Every year on the anniversary of the day they met, Samuel would hang new lights on the property, always adding something special. Lily and Sophia would decorate the tree together, teaching James as he grew old enough to help. They would have dinner together every night, no matter how busy Sophia's work got, because they had learned that time together was the most valuable thing they had. Samuel never returned to construction full-time, instead building a successful custom furniture business. Sophia's company continued to thrive, but she scaled back her hours to spend more time with family. They found balance, compromise, and joy in the ordinary moments as much as the extraordinary ones. On their 5th wedding anniversary, as they stood together watching the Christmas lights illuminate the estate, their children playing in the snow nearby, Sophia turned to Samuel. "Do you ever regret it, marrying me, dealing with my complicated family, living this life?" Samuel pulled her close, kissing her forehead. "Not for a single second. You are my home, Sophia. You and our children. Everything else is just details. Even when I burn dinner. Especially when you burn dinner. It gives me an excuse to order pizza." Sophia laughed, the sound carrying through the cold December air. "I love you, Samuel Quinn. I love you too, Sophia Quinn." They stood there together as darkness fell, the lights twinkling around them like stars brought down to earth. Inside the house, they could hear Lily reading to James, her voice patient and kind. It was a simple moment, unremarkable in its way, but it was everything. Samuel thought about the manila envelope that had sat on his dashboard 5 years ago, about how close he had come to giving up. He thought about the job listing that had seemed too good to be true, about the woman who had answered her door and changed his life. He thought about all the small moments and choices that had brought them here, and he knew, with absolute certainty, that he would not change a single thing. Because sometimes, when you are at your lowest, when you have lost hope and can barely see a way forward, life surprises you. Sometimes a simple job hanging Christmas lights leads to something more. Sometimes a struggling father and a lonely billionaire find exactly what they need in each other. Sometimes, despite all the odds and obstacles and differences, love wins. Their story was proof of that. Not a fairy tale, because fairy tales do not include burnt dinners and arguments about money and the hard work of blending families. But something better, something real, something that would last. As they walked back toward the house, hand in hand, the lights glowing behind them and their children's laughter echoing ahead, Samuel felt a peace he had never thought he would find again. He had been looking for a job, for a way to keep his daughter housed and fed. He had found so much more. He had found love, unexpected and transformative. He had found family, expanded and redefined. He had found hope, restored and renewed. And he had found himself, not the broken version who had driven up to this house 5 years ago, but someone stronger, someone happier, someone who knew that the best things in life often come when you least expect them. Inside, they helped the children get ready for bed, a nightly routine that Samuel never took for granted. Bath time, story time, prayers, and kisses goodnight. Simple rituals that made up a life that created the foundation of childhood memories. Later, as he and Sophia prepared for bed themselves, she showed him something on her phone. "Look at this. Remember I told you I was working on that veterinary technology? We are ready to launch. I want to create a scholarship program in Lily's name to help kids who want to become veterinarians." "What do you think?" "I think Lily will be thrilled. I think it is perfect." Samuel pulled Sophia close. "You are always thinking of others." "I learned that from you," Sophia said. "You taught me that success does not mean anything if you cannot share it with people you love." They fell asleep wrapped in each other's arms, and Samuel's last thought before drifting off was simple gratitude. Gratitude for second chances, for unexpected opportunities, for the courage to take a risk on love. The next morning, Samuel woke early and went to his workshop. He had a commission to finish, a custom crib for a friend's baby. As he worked, his hands steady on the wood, he reflected on how much his life had changed. He was not struggling anymore, not financially and not emotionally. But he had not forgotten what that felt like, and he made sure to use his success to help others. He hired workers from the community, gave jobs to people who needed second chances, donated his time and skills to local charities. Sophia did the same with her resources, and together they had created a foundation that supported single parents and children who had lost parents. Emma would have approved, Samuel thought. She would have loved Sophia, would have seen the goodness in her heart. He liked to think that somewhere, somehow, Emma knew he was happy again. That she was glad he had found someone to share his life with, someone who loved their daughter as fiercely as she would have, Lily burst into the workshop, still in her pajamas. "Daddy. Sophia is making pancakes and they are not burned. Come quick before she changes her mind." Samuel laughed and followed his daughter back to the kitchen, where Sophia stood at the stove with James on her hip, triumphantly flipping pancakes that were only slightly overdone. "I am getting better at this," she announced proudly. "You really are," Samuel agreed, kissing her cheek and taking James so she could focus on cooking. They ate breakfast together, syrup getting everywhere, James smashing more pancake than he ate, Lily telling elaborate stories about the dream she had the night before. It was chaos and mess and absolutely perfect. After breakfast, they all bundled up and went outside to build a snowman. James toddled around, more interested in eating snow than building with it. Lily directed operations like a tiny general, very particular about where the stick arms should go. Sophia and Samuel worked together, their hands touching as they packed snow, sharing smiles that held 5 years of history. This was their life now. Not without challenges, because no life is, but full of love and laughter and the simple joy of being together. The estate that had once seemed cold and empty was now a home, filled with the sound of children and the warmth of family. As the day went on, friends stopped by. The neighbor who used to watch Lily came over with her daughter, who was still Lily's best friend. Some of Samuel's workers dropped off a project update. A few of Sophia's colleagues joined them for hot chocolate and cookies. The house that had been built for entertaining was finally being used as intended, but not for stuffy business parties. For real gathering, real connection, real life. That evening, after everyone had gone home and the children were in bed, Samuel and Sophia stood in front of the Christmas tree, just as they had on so many evenings before. "I never get tired of this," Sophia said softly. "Looking at this tree, being in this house, living this life. With you." "Neither do I," Samuel agreed. "Sometimes I still cannot believe this is real, that I get to wake up next to you every morning, that we built this family together. We did build it, did we not? Every choice, every compromise, every moment of choosing each other, that is what made this real." Samuel turned to face her fully, cupping her face in his hands. "I love you, Sophia, more than I thought I could ever love again. You made me believe in second chances. You gave me a family when I did not think I would ever have one. You showed me what really matters." Sophia kissed him softly. "We saved each other, and it was true." Their love story was not about a billionaire rescuing a struggling father or vice versa. It was about two lonely people finding each other at exactly the right moment, about building something beautiful together, about creating a family from love and choice and commitment. The Christmas lights outside glowed steadily, a reminder of where it all began. But they were just lights, just decoration. The real magic was inside, in the love they had built, in the family they had created, in the life they lived every single day. As they climbed the stairs to bed, walking past rooms filled with sleeping children and memories, Samuel felt nothing but contentment. He had been hired to hang Christmas lights. Instead, he had found his forever home, his partner, his second chance at happiness. And Sophia, who had been so lonely in her big, empty house, now had everything she had ever wanted without knowing she wanted it. A husband who saw her for who she really was. Children who filled her days with purpose and her heart with joy. A life that was messy and real and absolutely perfect. Their story was not over, of course. There would be more challenges ahead, more moments of doubt and difficulty. But they would face them together, as a family, as partners, as two people who had found each other against all odds and chosen to build something lasting. The billionaire and the struggling father. The woman who had everything except what mattered most. The man who had nothing but his daughter and his determination. Together, they had created something neither could have built alone, a home, a family, a love that would last a lifetime. And it had all started with a simple job hanging Christmas lights, with taking a chance, with being open to possibility. Samuel had driven up to that estate desperate and struggling, looking for work. He had found his forever. Sometimes that is how the best stories begin. Not with grand gestures or perfect timing, but with ordinary moments that become extraordinary. A job listing. A knock on a door. A smile that changes everything. Their lights would continue to shine every Christmas, a beacon in the darkness, a symbol of hope and transformation and second chances. But the real light in their lives came from each other, from the love they shared, from the family they had built together. And as they fell asleep that night, surrounded by the life they had created, both Samuel and Sophia knew with absolute certainty that they were exactly where they belonged. Together, home forever.